welcome to the final episode of Voyagers Adventure. This is it, last one before the tour, and we are ending this series on a high. We've had the dive coaster, which was our first B&M in the park, the family wing coaster, which was the second B&M in the park, and now, the final episode, we have the final coaster in the park. Well, technically not the final coaster, but the final B&M in the park. A launched B&M invert. I know, pretty cool. I can see B&M doing this someday. The inverted coaster has had very few changes since it first kind of launched back in like the 90s, so I thought I'd give it a bit of a twist, put a launch on there. B&M have been experimenting quite a bit recently with Mandrill Mayhem at Chessington, the launch shuttle wing coaster. There's Pipeline, autosave, brilliant timing. Pipeline, which is the launch stand-up coaster at SeaWorld. They've been experimenting with launches, especially on some coaster types that they already had. So, I need to put that in test mode. So, I thought I would do the same. I feel like a launched invert is in the realm of possibility. It probably could happen. And I'm so happy with this. As you can probably tell, Nemesis Inferno at Thorpe Park was my main inspiration for this. Especially with the track colour, but also with the layout. And you can just see it coming around here. Launches straight into that Immelman there. I love this coaster. It's slightly shorter trains of just 6 because the layout's quite tight, so I wanted them to be more nimble. That 0G roll took forever to profile, but I'm so happy with it. As you can see, all the custom supports are done, like even the thicker pieces of track for the loop there. Every piece of the track is custom supported, and I'm so happy with it. Custom support in inverts, I thought would be relatively easy because most of it's just like the same support repeated over and over again, but because I've got like different path interaction and a couple of different elements that I haven't really done before, it was actually a little bit challenging, but not in a bad way, because if you know me by now, I absolutely love custom supporting my coasters, so it was really fun to do, and the dispatches are crazy. That one's already out. I've got it running 3 trains at the moment. I think I might reduce it to 2. I'm undecided, but I'll get back to that at some point. But I love how the queue kind of like winds up there. It's going to be like, because it's like an Asian themed area, it's going to be like built up with loads of wooden rafters and beams for that queue to be like elevated above the ride area. Another train already coming out to sit in the launch section, that's crazy. And then there's that nice path area there. I love how it launches up to the waterfall as well. I'll come down to the track here, which you can see I've put the TMTK LSM fins in from the workshop. Oh, that's so cool. You get like some really cool hang time on top of there as well. So it flies through that 0G roll. That was a pain to profile. Goes into the vertical loop. This is all very similar to Nemesis Inferno, and then goes into an overbank at the back there. Then the interlocking corkscrew is very similar to Nemesis Inferno, especially with that turnaround at the end. And I just love the way this coaster turned out. It keeps its speed really well, but it's also kind of like a little bit graceful, which is kind of perfect for theme I was going for, with like some sort of Asian dragon theme. Obviously you'll see the name at the end of the episode, which you've all picked, which I'm sure will be amazing. I love this water feature here as well. Might need to turn down some of those effects. That kind of sucks the train a little bit. But I had that concept in my head very early on that I wanted it to like shoot up some rock work, kind of like Taron does. This area as well is going to be connected over here with the area from last episode and the area with the dive coaster in. So there'll be a path that runs off down here and one that runs down the other side, and actually one that runs down the back as well from the bridge that connects the Vekoma area just down here, which gives you great views of the other coaster in this area. I thought we needed some sort of a family coaster, and I might have gotten a little bit carried away and made it a little bit too big. But, well, sort of like a family kiddie coaster kind of thing. It doesn't have that big of a drop, as you can see. I've like raised it off the ground quite a lot, but I thought this area just needed something else in it. So yeah, we've got a family Zero coaster. So nice interaction there with the water, and like it goes under that bridge. Again, this queue is going to be like suspended with loads of beams and stuff above the water and above that kind of like baby little cliff. Kind of like water features everywhere. It's so nice. All obviously wheelchair accessible as well, because that is definitely a priority you need to do in your parks. And then a flat ride down here. Another flat ride in the park, can't hurt. I thought this one kind of fit perfectly with the theme once I started to colour it in. And it's very similar to this ride over here in the terms of that it's kind of a little bit fun fairy, but if you theme it in enough, you can kind of get away with it. So that's what I was sort of going for there. Back down here we have the maintenance area, so it's got the transfer track, all lovely custom supported as well. Really, really like the look of this, and because of where the queue is as well, it's going to be quite hidden away, which will be nice, sunken at the back. Station building, obviously, it's just a very simple start to it. I've still got a lot to do on this, lots of beams, as you know. I really like these spiky roofs as well. I've done those from the little overhang pieces that each pointy bit I've made up of about 6 roof pieces. I just thought it looked cool. Same with this coaster really, I had a concept in my head and I just did everything I possibly could to try and get that concept. It's like the second I've got an idea, I don't know, I can't just... I had a few sketches. Oh, they've got the music as well blasting out, which is nice. I had a few sketches, but I just needed to get this out, like sort of get the coaster done, get a bit of the station building done, so I had it for reference later on. Gets really close to that path actually, I might need to move that. It's going to have some queue covers on it obviously for loose articles and everything, but yeah, I just really like how close, and it's almost as like I've created terrain with the queue. That's definitely going to need something there. Terrain with the queue going around it, but yeah, you get some great views of the coasters as flying around. It really reminds me of like this part here when you're watching over the pit of Nemesis with the giant vertical loop and everything. Really, really cool. Yeah, and then down into the station. So that's it for this update, first one. I will see you in the second update when this has hopefully got a lot more interesting, lots more foliage and theming going in. I'll see you then. Right then, first update time. I thought now would be a good point to do the first update because I've done quite a bit, but also I've got a lot that I want to change, and I'll go back to that in a minute. But this is sort of what I've done with the area so far. You come in and there's kind of like rock work and foliage started to be put into place, and then we've got our first kind of major ride that you'll get meted by in this area, which is the spinning flat ride you saw earlier. I've like put in the rock work and some nice fencing details around here. This is kind of going to be like the colour palette for the whole area, so you'll see that around. It's kind of like the Japanese Chinese sort of vibe, but a bit more like, I don't know, like aged and traditional, and because it's sort of, I'm kind of going for a little bit of a vibe of like Expedition Everest at Epcot, kind of a vibe of that, of where it's like a little bit not really abandoned, but sort of like you can tell it's definitely older. So I'm gonna kind of do something like that. So this is that flat ride I was on about. Oh, we're in a tree. And then I've started to put seating around. As for the coaster, I've started to add a few little bits of night lighting, which I'll hopefully try and remember to show you later. And then I've added like this fencing with some speakers in, so the speakers make a noise of like a dragon as it launches. And then you've got a nice view of the coaster kind of as it does its first inversion and then through the 0G roll there, which actually looks really nice. That profiling took forever to get right, so I'm so happy that it actually looks decent enough now. Then you've kind of got this plaza area which you will exit up that ramp and come into. So this is like the main seating area that will serve on that building, and also just a nice place to sit. Speaking of this building, this is sort of your first taste as to what the station building will look like. You can't really tell what all the details are because of the sun. I might turn that around. There we go. So I've moved the sun around so you can kind of see the colours are autosave. Brilliant timing, thanks. Anyway, this is the building style that I'm going to be going for when creating the station building. It's sort of a bit Norse, like Nordic almost. I haven't tried to make it look like that. It's just turned out like that. I need to kind of Japaneseify it up a little bit to make it kind of fit in a bit better, but we'll get to that. I'll experiment a little bit more, but the colours are definitely right. I just don't know. I need to add like lighting and foliage and stuff like that. I've added these little lighting poles around the area as well. Oh, this looks much nicer in this light actually. It just depends what part of the park you're in, because of how high these trees are here, it overshadows this building. But yeah, the rest of the coaster I haven't done anything with yet. I've rerouted the queue so you now won't get hit by the train as it goes past. That's always good. And then the main change that I wanted to go over actually was this coaster. I've changed the colour scheme of it and I've like ridden it a few times and I'm just really not keen on it. I think for how tall it is, it comes into the brakes with quite a bit of speed. And we don't really have, like if you look at the entire park, we don't really have like a strictly kiddie coaster really. Like there's 1, 2, 3, you can make the argument that there's 4 family coasters, and then 1, 2, this will be the third big thrilling coaster, like family thrill and then big thrill. But we don't really have a ride that's like a strictly kiddie coaster, so I might try that with this. Like I might lower it down a bit. I don't know, something that just makes it less intense, probably a bit longer, because with all the speed it gets into the brake run, it could definitely do something a little bit more interesting. But obviously the main focus of this area is this coaster, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But pretty much since I changed the colour scheme and had another ride on it, I was like, nah, I just don't like this coaster. Should we have a go on it now, actually, just so you can see what I'm on about? We'll put it into test mode, just so... Oh, wrong mode. We'll sit on the back, just so you can kind of see what I mean. When I say I don't like the coaster. Why are you not testing? I didn't click test, that would be why. But yeah, I just don't find it that interesting. So it kind of turns out the station, goes up this little lift hill, but obviously it uses the terrain fully to its advantage. Goes down a kind of okay drop, but obviously I don't want it to be too thrilling. It's got some interesting transitions, but I kind of wanted to keep it the vibe that it was an older era coaster. Yeah, and it just kind of meanders back to the station. It's not the most exciting coaster in the world. You get hit by a pillar on the way. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna delete it because I like the train and the colour, kind of the lift hill position as well, to be honest. But yeah, that's gonna change quite a bit in the next update. But apart from that, for the rest of the area, I'm just going to be adding more detail. Added a bit more scenery and seating around here. I need to do something with these. I don't know whether they're going to be fountains or just rock features or what yet. I need to add all the landscape into the entire coaster, do the station, do the queue, do the backstage, landscape all this so that it fits in, and then obviously tackle that coaster. But I think primarily for the next update, I'll probably just do more of the landscaping for the main area and this coaster, and then in the final update I'll go over what I do to the station and the queue line, sort of thing. Quite a lot of work to do from the last episode. Not as much as the B&M Family Wing Coaster from the last episode. Yeah, this is definitely a lot more intense, full-on, whole themed area of an episode, but we needed to finish on a banger, so I'll let you know how I get on. See you in a bit. I've done quite a bit. I might have got a little bit carried away, but the place now has a name. It means Red Village in Japanese. As far as Google Translate says anyway. But I'm absolutely loving the whole vibe of this area now. I've got quite a bit to cover, so I'll get around it. I think I showed you this last time. But I don't think I've added to it anything this last time anyway. Most of the area that's changed is the other side of the park, but if the train's about to launch... We now have dispatch audio, which is pretty cool. So that goes off every time the train launches. Pretty cool. We've now got these jumping fountains, and I've made this whole area around here which is like a nice seating area, so you can get your food from over there and have a nice seat watching the coaster launch around. You get a pretty good view of all the layouts. It zooms around. Yeah, I'm really liking this coaster. So if you come back across this way, you've got the restaurant that I showed you last time, the takeout shop that's almost a little bit Nordic looking. I've started to add like night lighting to this as well. We now have speakers all around the park, playing that soundtrack, which is nice. And then obviously quite a bit's happened on this coaster, which I'm really happy about. So the entrance is all, like the queue, I mean, is all, I don't know what the right word is, it all has sides to it now. And then obviously the bits that I want guests to be able to see through, I've put windows in, so they can see the coaster zooming around as it like goes up and against all the path. It's got some great queue interactions on this. Might need some covers every now and again, but yeah, I'll add those. Obviously, I didn't want to have massive holes in the fence that like the close to this part of track, because you like stick your arms through and people are stupid. You know what I'll do. Yeah, and the whole queue goes up here. I have actually changed one of the supports for this as well. I've made that a little bit wider, and I added this middle support on the second, what's it called? First corkscrew, sorry, that middle support. Because I realised there wasn't one there. That pigeon is floating. It's magic. Yeah, the queue comes all the way around here, as you've seen before. I've added this red wall in this side to hide the maintenance area, and this ride actually now has its own soundtrack compared to the main soundtrack of the park, which is very dramatic. I really like the sound of it. It really reminds me of Icon's soundtrack, and a little bit of Zadra's as well, both Imascore obviously. But yeah, the music in Planet Coaster is just great anyway. So yeah, that's got a nice soundtrack. Still haven't touched the station building yet, I still need to. But the bit that I've been working on the most, actually, is completely redoing the other coaster in this area. Like I said in the last update, I just thought the layout was so boring. Very uninspired, didn't really do a whole lot, so I've changed quite a bit of the layout, as you can see. I've done quite a bit, so it still comes up with the exact same lift hill. I've not changed the profile in height or any of that. It comes down this drop and it's now like a snaking, I don't know, S-bend almost drop, so it comes over the path like it still did. I might have to have another support in the middle. Goes into an upwards helix, then it does sort of like another S-bend, drops down like kind of tilted into another like upwards helix, like a double helix. Then it like snakes around back up here, back underneath the bridge again into the brakes. But then I've done the whole queue across this area as well. That pole needs to be supported at the bottom. Added a little foliage in and stuff. Put this big bridge down the side with the area name on again. And then obviously this water is cascading down. I need to put like some sort of water source for this somewhere. I was thinking that, but I mean obviously it's coming from this upper lake, so I'd assume it would be some sort of pipe that runs under this whole area to here. So I might add like a little, I don't know, like a water spout thing here. I don't know. I need some way of this water being here other than it just being here and infinitely flowing down the hill. But yeah, that's how it's looking at the moment. Quite a nice interaction between the two coasters as well, because they do get pretty close. You'd be lucky to try and get an interaction between the two of them. Obviously there's a lot more to do. We'll probably do one more update and then the final tour, I think, because there's parts of it that I want to keep a little bit secret until the final tour. But I can't remember if I showed you the backstage of here actually, did I? Because these kind of retaining walls, because I put these in for the changing levels, and I've actually added another retaining wall at the back here, because this is quite a steep sort of like almost cliff face. I thought that's not really realistic. So yeah, all the transfer track and stuff is now protected from the land by this and hidden by this wall. But obviously this is all going to receive loads of foliage, rock work, lovely near misses and all sorts, and then same for this coaster. But I'm really liking this area. It kind of feels like the start of a Asian inspired mini park sort of thing, because it's like a really complete area. So, sort of like this could be part of, obviously quite a big part, but part of a mini park as well. That's kind of how I've done the themed areas in this. Like, it's not just one themed coaster, it's like a whole like chunk of an area with other stuff in it going on, like seating places and restaurants and stuff to look at, like nice foliage and water features and rock work. Whereas this one's got like, it's gonna have 3 main buildings in it, flat ride, 2 coasters. There's a lot going on, so I'm really happy with where it's going. But yeah, nice quick update this one. I'll get back to you in update 3 when hopefully most of this should be nearly finished. Here we are with the final update of this episode and this entire series. I've done quite a bit. Maybe I've got a little bit too carried away. Maybe. But yeah, I figured this was a good point for the final update. It's because I've got quite a bit left to do. But I've also done quite... Oh, that was nice. I've also done quite a lot, so I thought I kind of update it now, a little update just before I've finished and completed everything, then this kind of feels like a good point to do that. As you can see, this coaster has received quite a bit more theming. We'll do an aerial view towards the end. And just the area as a whole, and like a lot more built up now. I've added a lot more foliage to all the B&M coaster area, so this will be where the name for this coaster will go. Which I'll reveal in the tour at the end, but I just love the views of the 2 coasters that you get from all across this area. They're just snaking around everywhere, it's so cool. Yeah, and this area is like really opened up now. I've gotten rid of some of the trees that were in the middle because I didn't like how cramped the whole area felt. And I've also increased the banking on this as well, so it's not really an overbank, it's just like a really sharp bank, because before it was kind of a bit flat and it just didn't look right. Little seating area here, and then there's that water feature that runs around. Still need to finish the station and the queue for this coaster, but I've added like more lighting and trees. This idea as well, with kind of how it looks like some of the leaves have fallen off here. I just completely stole this idea from Jan. If you know my channel, if you've been watching it for a while, you'll know who Jan is. I've done a lot of work with him in the past. So yeah, please go and check out his content. His latest park, as of when I'm filming this, Serene Gardens, gave me the idea for this, so it was a good idea, so that's why I stole it. Thank you. But yeah, it just I needed something to kind of give a bit of a focal point to these trees, and that just does that. I really like it. But yeah, you get some great views just pretty much of this coaster no matter where you are in this area. I need to add fencing and stuff around here, obviously. Haven't added much more to this. The coaster's still looking exactly the same. I'll have a look overhead. There's just little bits to finish off, really. Adding more foliage, scenery, and the station building for this ride. Completing off all the paths, because there's still quite a few areas that like the guests could just wander straight into stuff. So I need to put up like walls along here like I have around the rest of the park, and then need to finish off the queue for this. I've got all the queue in mostly, and then I've added a few queue covers as well on certain parts that need it, like here, just because I thought this might even need to extend a bit further. Which way does it come? It comes around that way. Yeah, something might get flung off the train and hit someone. I might need to put another sign here so that I can block that, but obviously there's this that goes all across this pathway here that is blocking just in case something comes off the train at that point. But yeah, then I will need to add probably like something here that would block anything from flying up into people in the queue. And obviously the queue weeds around all up here. Still needs more foliage, and then I need to do the actual station for this coaster as well, a bit more on the backstage, and then we're finished. And then Voyagers Adventure will be finally complete. I can't wait. But I mean, look at the size of this park now. It's insane how big it is, and what's even more insane is I started this park in November 2022. That is how long it's taken. I mean, obviously I've had a lot happen real life wise during that time, just to do with uni and like full-time working now and everything. So yeah, a lot got in the way of it, but it's nearly complete, and that means we can move on to the next series afterwards. So yeah, progress is definitely happening at more rapid pace now. I'm happy to say, and this park is nearly finished. So I'll get back to you with the finished product, which will be the final part of the final episode of Voyagers Adventure before the tour. I'll see you in a minute. Test. Well, the Asian area is now fully complete, which means this entire park is now complete, which is crazy. I've got a couple of little bits I want to do before the tour, but should we start down here? I just love this area. It's come together so well, like a lot quicker than I thought as well. This only kind of took about 2 weeks, but yeah, I'm just so happy with like the level changes in this area as well. It was completely accidental because I just kind of made this part of the park a lot lower anyway. But yeah, I just really like how these two coasters kind of just take over like the whole like skyline, because it's quite a small like short area, but these two coasters can be seen from pretty much no matter where you are, and they're both like quite distinctive from a distance as well, so they provide a lot of nice views. That's so cool. Park. Actually, no, all of them. All the coasters in this park have been named by you guys. Flat rides as well, hopefully. So it's been so fun watching you all name the coasters. And then just across this little bridge here, there's the name for the kiddie coaster, which is on your screen now. So again, thank you so much for this one. This area is now looking amazing with all these rides completed, all the foliage in. That really reminds me of the concept art for Phoenix Rising. That was completely unintentional because I kind of styled it after the turnaround on Nemesis Inferno, but it ended up changing profiling a little bit. But we'll enter the area from up here because this is kind of where you would enter it anyway. So we've got the two entrances round from each side. We'll go this way because I like this entrance. It's a lot more like narrow, and then you get such a cool like reveal of the area as you come through. So I can't remember whether this flat ride will receive a name. I'll put it on the screen now if people commented one for it. If you did, thank you very much. But yeah, it's a nice little flat ride, nice and themed in and everything, custom fencing. I love the audio in this area as well, but obviously the main feature is this huge B&M invert in the background. I just love all the level changes, because I get a view from overhead. It's quite simple when you think about it. It's just two coasters, one at the back, one at the side, a flat ride. But then I just love all the sprawling paths in between and the water features and everything. It's nice. Especially as you come down into this bit. I really wanted to create that kind of small village feel. Didn't know that flat ride made that noise, that's quite cool. Now you've got all the water effects going off. Got this lovely water feature down here as well. It's just a lot more peaceful area than the rest of the parks. The rest of the park's obviously quite lively and active. I still need to add foliage to this and probably names for these food units as well. But this whole area's come together so nice. I need to add a tree there as well. There's a couple of bits that I still want to go back and add, but I just wanted this series done with so I can have like quite a few weeks to slowly tinker with certain bits while I'm working on my next park series as well. But the views you get across this area are just insane. Should we go on this little coaster first? Should we go on the kiddie coaster? There's a nice little waiting area for when you get off as well, with views over the track. But I think we should go on this coaster first. This area is so nice. Got the little bridge. I love this part of the queue as well, how it's like suspended over the water. So you can catch the train coming past. I love the zero car of that. Fits in perfectly. And it flies around there, under the bridge and back into the station. I really wanted to go for a much simpler design for this station. So it's kind of like just a simple roof on top, but when you're inside with all the battens running across, it does look quite nice, and it kind of diffuses the light a bit as well on the beams, and obviously it would in real life to make this station area red. But yeah, really happy with this, and the views you get across the whole area while you're on it as well are really nice. So let's go and look at those while we're on the coaster. And then obviously it goes back through the station again, but I won't show the layout twice. I'll probably try and do some different style POVs for when I'm in the tour as well, like we can get different perspectives, so I might do that one. Maybe sat on the back row, because obviously if you sit on the front row, you just get the back of the zero car as your main view, so it's not great. But I could do some like back row rides or track views or something for the tour, just to try and make it a bit unique. I love this building as well. I did quite a lot of concept in for this building until I made my mind up on what I wanted. It does look a little bit Nordic, but like the kind of style of the roof and the overhang and the wall detailing was exactly what I wanted. Like I said, I need to add more foliage and signage to this, which will come before the tour. But yeah, I just love this area. It's come together so nicely. Like the waterfall in front of the invert, I just love it. Custom supported, obviously. And then there's kind of like a wall of trees and foliage at the back as well to disguise the maintenance area and the path. Should we watch it launch? It's just coming out now. I don't know really where I came up for the concept of it being launched invert. I just kind of thought they're doing a lot of experimenting at the moment with B&M, so I just kind of thought a launched invert is well within the possibilities. I know Vekoma could definitely do one, so why not B&M? Yeah, I just love this area. It's so nice. I know I keep saying it, but it's come together really well. And there's obviously this nice seating area here, so you can watch the coaster fly around. Nothing I love more in parks than the eating areas having like a view over coasters. It's so cool. It just makes the area so much more immersive. It's like you don't really ever leave the themed experience even while you're eating. So graceful. Got all the waterfalls as well. This area's got a lot of water features, as you'll see, but I think we need to go on the coaster. I've left it long enough now. I'm just as excited to get back on it as you lot probably are. But just look at it, you get such a nice reveal as well coming through here, and I didn't really know how I wanted to do the path originally, but when I saw how close some of the track was coming to the actual coaster itself and the train, I thought it's going to need to be mostly walled in, but then I could have glass panels. Oh, thanks autosave, at least we've got a good view for it. We could have like some glass panels that are all around the area as well. You see the coaster flying around. It took a long time to get the profiling right on this. B&M inverts, I think most B&Ms in general have very specific profiling. So it took quite a while to get this right, but you can see how close it gets to the path sometimes. So it definitely needs certain queue covers like this, and then like this one that you go in under here. I was going to say the dispatches are crazy on that coaster, but then I realised it does 2 laps. Still good dispatches. But yeah, you'd accept like little areas like this where you can see the coaster flying around above you, then you got like little views over there, and then a nice view of the ride area this way. It's a lot about like framing the parts of the park that you want to be the main view, and then obviously with this part when you look behind you, you see the coaster swooping around there. And you go up this side, you're really right next to the coaster and all of its custom supports. Good timing. Just a really nice overbank over the path, right down beside you, just those 2 corkscrews. We'll get a nice view of it coming back and doing this second corkscrew. It's quite graceful, this B&M invert. I don't think it'd be overly intense. Sort of like a midpoint, I think, probably between Osiris and Nemesis Inferno. It sort of feels like a nice mix between those two. Got that final turnaround down there as well, and obviously the back wall of this is blocked in so you can't see the maintenance area, which I'll show you later. Why are you floating? I need to fix that. Oh, it's so cool, the areas you get. Areas? Views. I can't even English, I'm that excited. And I've done the thicker parts of the loop on the supports as well, which is always cool. You come down here into the station. Really happy with this station, mainly because it's just loads of beams. I'm easily pleased, what can I say? Yeah, it's just so nice. Doesn't this music sound like Icon? I've really just noticed. It's like kind of Icon Zadra style music. And you've got the row numbers as well. We'll probably do a back row in the tour, or like a track view, but for now, we'll go front row, because it's first time on the coaster, may as well. And there you go, that was the final coaster of Voyagers Adventure done with. That's it, this park series is now fully complete. You've ridden all the coasters, gotten all the creds, and all that's left now is the tour. We're done. I can't believe it, this park series has taken well over 1.5 years for me to make. And it doesn't really feel real that it's finally now finished, because it's taken up like so much of my time. I started this, I think, when I was at uni, which feels like forever ago now, because I've not been in uni for a good year. Yeah, but now it's all finished. It's crazy. This area was such a good area to go out on for the last episode as well. I kind of wanted to save probably my most unique idea so far to the end, because it's not really a theme I've explored that much before. Not in any detail anyway, but I'm just so happy. And it had to be 2 coasters for the final episode. Really go out with a bang. But yeah, that's it. This park is now finished. I feel so weird to say, but it is actually now finished. We started with this huge expansive entrance area, which was probably the most I've ever built for an episode on my channel at that point. And then it just started getting even more insane. We built the B&M dive coaster, which is like a whole themed land. We built the GCR Woody just after that, which I really wanted to build a GCR Woody for such a long time. Proper love letter to Wickerman. Then obviously I built the Mack Extreme Spinner, getting on Ride to Happiness soon hopefully. And after that did the Vekoma launched family coaster, again something I've wanted to do for a really long time, especially after Big Bear opened, and I was like, yes, I need to do that. After that we went into the Gerstlauer indoor coaster. Wanted to do an indoor coaster for ages. finally got the opportunity to do one. It's definitely something I'll go back to do someday, but not without a couple of other coasters and a bit of a rest first, because it was a lot. Then we did the B&M Family Wing Coaster, which was really fun as well. I've never done a wing coaster before, so I thought I'd do one a bit more unique than all the thrilling ones, but I definitely will do a thrilling one someday because they're really cool. And then finally finished it on the Family Zero Coaster and the B&M Launched Invert, something really unique and a big statement piece to end not only this episode but this entire series. I will see you next time for the tour, and then that'll be it. It's going to be one really cool tour of the whole park, getting on everything again, loads of different POVs. I'll probably release some just standalone POVs afterwards as well in like 1440, 60, nice quality ones of each of the rides. But yeah, that's it. This park series is now finished. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know how long it'll be until the next park series because I'm still deciding which one first, but they're both really cool concepts. Both nothing like I've ever really done before. A lot more detail and theming than other parks. Just because of this has kind of given me a lot of inspiration and confidence in what I can create when I've given enough time, especially without the time lapses, because the time lapses really reduced my, restricted my creativity by how much I could make, because I had to make it all on camera. And obviously all the editing time on top of that as well, whereas this series I can make it completely at my own pace, don't have to worry about having to delete parts afterwards from the time lapse so it doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah. And that's what you get this park series. So expect another 2 series at some point, either this year or next year. There will be one series this year, I promise. I don't know whether both series will come this year, but yeah, I will see you in the tour. I'll stop rambling now. Can't wait for the tour, it's going to be exciting. Thank you so much for the support of this series. I'm sure it's been insane. I really hope we've hit 10k by the end of this series. That would be absolutely insane. Obviously these episodes are recorded quite far in advance, but I'll be recording the tour probably the week it comes out, so I'll have a bit more of an updated perspective about how this park series is done. I hope it's done well, because if you can tell, I've poured so much love into this series. It's taken a lot of time, but I really hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have. Anyway, thank you for watching again, and I'll see you in the tour. Goodbye.